The audio market is highly competitive because it's growing. Consumers are engaging more and more. And we think 2019, we saw about 100 million users in the United States streaming. But almost 50% of smartphone users are now in subscription streaming. So it's a big market, and there's a lot of focus on it. One way to differentiate your product is by investing in podcasts. And so there's been an explosion of podcasts available to consumers. And there's been a lot of investment by Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and others to try to bring more podcasts to the consumer. And for Spotify, this is really important. This is where they compete. Apple's a massive company, does a lot of things incredibly well. For Spotify, it's all about audio. And so they've made podcasts incredibly important to their strategy.
Listening has reportedly ticked up to 4.4 hours weekly. Apple says it has 800,000 podcasts. How do you differentiate your service to advertisers?
Yeah, look, I think one of the challenges in audio, whether it's music or podcasts, is generally content is not exclusive. You mentioned the Netflix Apple competition. There you have exclusive programming. That's not as easy in the audio space. So it's really about discovery. You just mentioned how many podcasts there are. How do people like you and I figure out what to listen to? And so curation and discovery and the user interface, that's really where the differentiation is increasingly showing up. And again, I think our survey suggests that for the first time, Spotify has moved past Apple as the most popular platform for podcast consumption. And podcast premium users actually consume over 5 hours a week of podcasts. So you're seeing their consumer base actually even more engaged.
Last hour, we were just talking about 1 trillion music streams last year, which surely is a record. If streaming music is seeing a boost and podcasts are seeing this big boost, who's losing out?
Well, probably sleep would be one thing, generally speaking. There's probably some cannibalization of music consumption because of the rise of podcasts. But the big tailwinds here, Contessa, are smartphone adoption, unlimited data plans, and this is a global phenomenon, increasingly smart speakers. We think almost a third of U.S. homes now have smart speakers, and eventually connected cars. So we're more connected than ever, which allows for more content consumption. And that's growing the pie overall.
So explain to me briefly, Ben, if you could, the money machine here. I get how the podcast producer makes money. She or he or they sell advertising that is either dropped into the podcast or bumpers it on either end. But how does Spotify and Apple make money from this?
Yeah, it's a very good question and one that investors are highly focused on. And I think the answer is today, they're not. In fact, while podcasts are not new, monetization of podcasts really is just beginning. And it's an advertising-supported platform in general, where the artist or entertainer is reading an ad, which is pretty old school. But you're just starting to see, for example, Spotify announced some streaming advertising insertion technology at CES this week. So we're starting to see more and more investment in the tech behind it to make it a more monetizable audience. It's a highly engaging media. So I think the opportunity is there, but we're just getting started. There are some small subscription services that are ad-free, but I'd emphasize the word small today.